times, busy times, interesting times. Florida State had the bubble burst on Saturday. It's not a stunning surprise. Wake Forest is a real good team, and they score on everybody, and they certainly scored on us fewer points than they do against most everybody else. But alas, Florida State's offense was not good on this particular day, especially, I thought the big thing, Tom, we'll get into all the reasons. This is a straightforward one for me. I've watched it 3 times. I think it's fairly obvious the lines of scrimmage are a problem for Florida State, especially the 2 offensive tackles are terrible. I've been saying turn time for a while has been trending in that direction, who's not good. And then I think, obviously you're trying to do what you can at left tackle while Scott's out, but you don't have another tackle. So when you don't have another tackle, you got to put somebody out there, and he's not a tackle, and he doesn't look like a tackle, and he gets beat, and he, has a couple of really big penalties, one of them in particular, that cost you dearly, in addition to getting physically whipped. So that is not something where you can blame anybody. You can just say, well, it certainly sucks that before the season even really got going, you lost Bless Harris, which absolutely killed you. And we knew that you'd be facing some defenses down the line that would be able to take advantage of it. The problem is the next 2 will also do the same. And I think Florida State's probably in a position where they're staring at 4-3. And it's okay because you won the first 4 games and you put yourself in a position that if you take advantage of opportunities elsewhere on the schedule, you can still get to 8 wins. You certainly can get to 7 wins. It's just stomaching that first loss when those areas of weakness get exploited. Of course, you couldn't have known before the season that Fabian Lovett was going to get hurt in the very first game. It's a devastating loss. It is every week. It's getting worse now against teams that can do something about it. Without him, you're absolutely average to below average on the defensive line. When Verse is limited up front to, 17 snaps or something, whatever it was, plays, he makes a difference when he's in there. It's amazing how strong he is because he's having to use his upper body in a way to compensate, and he still jolts tackles every time he wants to. It's really, he must be incredibly strong. I would not want him to get his hands on me. But he's still not 100%, and Clinton's not either. So all of a sudden, where you win football games on the offensive and defensive lines are not good. They're not good. They're average to below average, and they'll get exploited. And they did in this game, I thought. And then I think the other problem is you're injured elsewhere, too. So far at this point, you've seen a little bit of a drop-off with Tatum Bethune because of that injury. He's not tackling well, and that's really hurting because he's in position, but he's not getting guys to the ground. That'll happen when you're dinged and trying to play through it. Deloach has been a rock star. They don't have anybody after that. I would say that, when I watch Lundy play, he's regressed considerably, not any good at all. And then I would also say that Gant has been actually a better player than him when he's in the game. They don't have stars at corner at all. So personnel is an issue. It's not the end of the world because they're well coached, I think, on offense. They're overcoming some things that are going to be exploited in some areas. They're not great on defense, but I don't think this team lost the game because of the defense. I think in the first half, it was well on its way to losing the game because of the defense, giving up 50 plays in the first half, couldn't get off the field to save their life. Those are the kinds of things that will devastate you. But at the end of the day, from all the other metrics, yards per play, total points, yardage, even holding Hartman to under 250 yards passing, they didn't give up any of the big plays at all. So they gave themselves a chance to get back in it, and they did get back in it. Opportunities present themselves in a football game. Every now and again, there are these moments, these fulcrum moments that we talk about where no matter how the game's gone to that point, you have a chance. Now, this team fights their ass off, and I love the fact that they'll never not do that, right? We now know they will always fight. So I don't even give them credit for it anymore. I just assume it. But without it, they would have got blown out Saturday. So luckily, they continued to fight, and they had a couple things start to go their way. They dialed up the pressure in the second half, got to them, and that changed a little bit, got off the field a couple times, and then you have a chance. Greedy Vance lets an interception go right through his hands. If Greedy Vance picks that ball off, I think Florida State could win the game, could steal a win in that moment. Now, we don't know if they would have gone down and scored. We don't know if he would have picked it and scored himself. He might have. But the bottom line is you don't make that play. Another play in the first half, Renardo Green's got great coverage on a third down. It's perfect coverage. We talk about reward yourself for perfect coverage. He doesn't make a play. The Wake receiver does make a play. Hartman throws a dime. So there are little moments like that where the one-on-one plays were made by Wake Forest. Florida State couldn't stay ahead of the chains on first down. So all the third downs that you had that you didn't convert, well, I think Florida State was 4 of 11. Meanwhile, Wake Forest was 10 of 18 on third down. They were 3 for 3 on fourth down. Go back and look at the distances of those third downs. Wake won first down repeatedly. So you set yourself up to be in a position to convert on third down, whereas Florida State couldn't. I thought the other part of this and where the tackles and really the offensive line as a whole had a real problem, we could not get the run game going. And that is the heart and soul of Florida State football, is the ability to run the football. Now, the stats will tell you this too, at least in total. I think it was 28 carries, 112 yards rushing. It's not a good day at the office on the ground. Neither Toafili nor Benson could ever really get anything going. And Trayshawn Ward was your best running back, but he also fumbled the football. So just some frustrating moments for Florida State. I would say sometimes it's as simple as this. Wake's better than Florida State. That's not hard. Wake is a better football team than Florida State. I think they are in crucial areas, and they execute. They're also veteran-laden, and they've been through it. They just played in the ACC championship. They just lost a double overtime game against Clemson. Florida State, not quite ready for prime time, however you want to describe it, against a better team. When Wake punched back after the opening drive for Florida State, they go down, you score, you feel good about it, right? But Wake punched back, and I thought Florida State never really got their footing in this football game. And again, crucial areas, not converting on third down, never really getting the run game going in the way that you wanted to, not being able to stop Wake Forest on first down, not getting them off the field on third down. There was only the turnover, but you lose that turnover. That was huge. It set up a 39-yard drive for Wake to score, so easy points when you had a chance to go up by 2 scores. And we said going into the game, red zone would be huge. Well, you don't have a field goal kicker, so he sucked again. And then secondly, you're in a situation where if you can't get them to kick field goals, you're going to lose a football game. And Wake converted most of their great opportunities anyhow. If you look at success rate on drives that entered the opponent's 40, Florida State, not as successful as Wake Forest, and that's that.
I don't know that I have a point to add here because you hit on everything. And we haven't talked about the game much, you and I. I think we traded a couple of texts.
Didn't want to because I wanted to see if we were on the same page, but it was an easy diagnosis.
Well, what's interesting about this game is you're right. It exposes all of the things that we're not and all of the positions that we don't have depth or frontline players at the level necessary to be a consensus top 10 team, top 15 team in the country. And yet, with all of these shortcomings, there is a chance to win the football game.
You're in the game.
And you shoot yourself in the foot at times to a degree that you almost feel like we lost because we made mistakes, not because they were a better football team. And yet you also know that there were a ton of plays where you just get beat one-on-one. Yeah. And I don't even mean – I feel like the Renardo play, for example, is kind of unlucky. He's in perfect position. But there are so many second and longs or third and longs in which we're just beat one-on-one, receiver versus corner. They picked on Amarian Cooper a ton in the first half. A ton. And it was pitch and catch.
He's yet to play well.
He has yet to play well this year. You're right about linebacker. Beyond your starting 2,
that's all you got.
You don't have.
And one of them is really hurt,
yep.
And he's playing through it because he's a man. But he doesn't get guys on the ground the way he did early in the season because he's hurt.
The interior of the defensive line without Fabian Lovett is much different, but they're also banged up too. I mean, our guy Robert Cooper is not 100%. You can see that. Malcolm Ray comes out of every game. Josh Farmer has his moments, but he's a redshirt freshman, and he looks very much like a redshirt freshman. And then at end, you're banged up there too. I mean, it's just. There are some places that we would be better if we were healthy. Like, for example, the Clemson game was announced today. It's a 7:30 p.m.
That's nice.
Kickoff. ABC, love that.
Yeah, no, you got a little advantage there. If Clemson falters at all, that place will be rabid.
Right, and if you tell me that maybe Lovett might be available even on a pitch count for that game and Jared Verse is at 100%, I'm going to assume he's going to be 100% by then because he looked pretty good at less than 100% this past weekend against Wake Forest. That changes the way I feel about what we can do defensively, but you need those guys out there. It reminds you that we don't quite have the roster where it needs to be.
Yeah.
They're in position, though, even with their shortcomings, to win a football game against Wake, and you talk about that. The turnover, the easy 7 points there.
Gave it away.
A missed field goal in the flow of the game. I'm not talking about the end of the game, but in the flow of the game. You've got a chance with Greedy Vance late to get a pick. There's a couple other plays out there, too. I thought actually one of the key plays of the game was right after the fumble on the second drive when we keep the ball. Marquiston misses a block on the right side. If he hits it, there's a wide open pitch and catch for Jordan, and now we're at midfield, and maybe we're up 14-0, and this thing avalanches on Wake Forest.
Well, your tight ends don't block, Tom.
Correct.
They never do.
Correct. Daniel didn't against Louisville, and Marquiston has some troubles.
I printed them all out for every game this year. Your tight ends don't block. So we talk about that room a lot, and people get confused because they see Cam McDonald make a few catches, and they think that he's having a great year, but they don't block anybody. So this is a problem, and then you've lost your tackles.
Right.
So,
and then the other problem, though, and this is one thing I guess you didn't hit on yet, even though you hit on like 99%, is they were surprised. The coaching staff was surprised that they froze up a little bit. And you saw that in Jordan Travis, and they talked about it all day today, how they pressed. They pressed. You saw there was a shot on the TV broadcast of Jordan coming to the sideline, and Mike didn't like what he heard. And he brings Jordan over. He says, calm down, calm down. So the team lost their composure a little bit. It's the learning process of how you win, how you handle those emotions and those pressures. They felt something different on Saturday than they felt before, which is the pressure to succeed when there are expectations. So it was a lesson learned.
I think that's true, but I also think it depends from the lens, right? I think if you're Wake Forest, you would say, yeah, because you felt pressed because we're good and we're going to make you execute. And by the way, we're going to execute. So if you can't match us, then you're going to lose, and you feel that. I think they felt that early on. Like the adjustments Wake made pretty quickly after that first drive. When you see those guys basically press in that tight formation you see defensively, you watch our two tackles get their ass beat instantly. And I'm like, well, this is a problem, because I'm at that point, I'm thinking that's a physical whipping. What are you going to do? There's nothing to do. Now we're going to chip maybe. What are you going to do? You're going to have to try to find a way to gain the edge. And gaining the edge was really difficult. I thought anyhow. I thought there were moments that you watch this group. The other part of this too is I think that if you could have reached into your back pocket in that moment and said, all right, we're not going to run between the tackles. They've decided that ain't happening. And you first guessed that the week before with some of the stuff you saw against Clemson.
It's very impressive.
So, okay, that immediately was a concern going into the game. I brought up both lines of scrimmage in the pregame show and last week during the show was, all right, well, got to block them. I mean, I think we have the skill position players now to hang in there and win a shootout. I thought there was no way we're going to stop them from scoring a lot of points. The fact that we held them to 31, I actually think is fairly impressive. Fairly. I mean, go back and look. Wake does this against everybody. They score against everybody.
In truth, I think it's probably mid-30s to upper 30s.
Should have been.
Because if they wanted to score a touchdown in the end there, I think they might.
They could have got it.
And then they missed a field goal as well.
Yeah.
But still, I mean,
still, listen,
they got better after that first drive in the third quarter. I thought there was a real problem.
Was an uncompetitive drive.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing.
With bad body language and everything.
Right down the field. Now, I'd like to know who it was that summoned those guys. I'm talking about it had to have been a player. I don't think that was a coach. I think a player was like, no, that ain't us. Because they, from there, intensified not only how physical they were, but focus seemed to, gather up.
3 points the rest of the way.
Yeah. So it was strange to come out the half looking like that, though. That's disappointing.
Correct. That tells me that whatever they were told at halftime didn't work or didn't sink in. Because they panicked within a couple of plays. You saw it. They're like, this isn't working. This isn't working.
Well, they're getting gashed, too, to start that drive. Just gashed. And so I know that the inclination for most fans at any point, I do it too, is to always blame coaches when something goes wrong, because they're the guys getting paid tons of money. So I get it. I get why it happens. I mean, we do it at the NFL level. We do it at the college level and all that. And there were some gaffes here. I didn't think Mike had a good day. Mike didn't have a great day.
Adams' first half, too.
It was not a good
first half. 3rd and 12 where they catch it's Renardo 1-on-1 on the left sideline. They only rush 3.
I know.
You're going to rush 3 against that dude? He'll wait.
Yeah,
he'll wait.
He'll wait.
And then the second half before the greedy play, there's another 3rd and long where they're 4 yards beyond the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was 1-on-3, and the kid still gets the first down. Well, it's because you dropped too deep.
You also have to tackle. That's another tough thing. Some of this, when you're in a position to get off the field and make a tackle, you got to make a tackle. That goes back to players. We don't like to blame college players, but several times they didn't make a tackle in this game on 3rd down when you could have got off the field.
Or 2nd down, and now it's 3rd and 7.
3rd and 7,
but now it's
3rd and 3. Yes, that happened a lot. So 3rd and manageable is a very different deal. When you lose first down on offense as frequently as we did, and by the way, I went back and watched because I really, and he does a great job with this. After the game, I went back and watched and wanted to see what Dominic Robinson had to say, because I'm tired of running on 2nd and 10. Stop it. I know you're trying to get positive. You blew your chance on first down. Now you're behind the chains. 3rd and 8 ain't it, man. And you haven't been able to run on them at all, really. Physically, you've been whipped. You've had a couple guys make some plays, but those aren't. I hated that. But what I was going to say was this. If you could have reached back into your back pocket and say, you know what, unleash Jordan. We've got to unleash Jordan because this is not freeing up. We're not getting anything we want in the run game right now. I don't think they could. I think he looked worse this week with the knee than he did last week. I think he looked more inhibited. He didn't look like he wanted to run at all. And I'm not blaming him because he's a very good thrower and he's been fine. He didn't have a bad game. He didn't have a great game, but he didn't have a bad game.
Right. He had set the bar so high in his first, few performances.
He wasn't terrible. I don't put this on him. It's just that aspect. I saw Corey ask the question today to Mike, and, Mike did what he did. But that's interesting. I don't think they could. I don't think he wanted to run in any way, shape, or form, which, again, if you're dealing with a knee and I need you out there for these next 2 games, I got it. But there were chances, there were opportunities, and I thought maybe out of desperation you'd do it to get Wake to play you differently, but they never really.
They may have a 20-21 if you get the pick with Greedy.
Yeah, you might have to say, let's go for it. Yeah. You don't know and I think that really does summarize where we're at with the game. On the one hand, the physical limitations of the roster after injury, especially the lack of depth that we're talking about. The lack of frontline elite talent. You don't have a lot of it. There are positions where you can say that guy's a really good player and this guy's a plus player, plus college player, plus Power 5 player. Then there's a whole lot of just average dudes that play real hard and play together, and that'll be enough for certain games, but it won't be enough against Wake or Clemson or NC State, and that'll come back to get you. But that's what a rebuild is. When you're building back up to it, you get the starting 22 to where you feel like they can play with most people. And then it's the group that comes in after that, the next 8 to 12 guys that you have to use on both sides of the ball. What are they? And with your better teams, they're plus players also. And we just haven't had enough in the way of recruiting classes to build that to a place where you could withstand the kind of losses we've had from an injury standpoint. It's frustrating, but at some point, those losses and those injuries get exposed.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, this is where it's complicated for me because Wake is more mature as a football team in 2 ways, in age and in composure.
Yeah.
You saw the composure. I mean, coming off of a crushing loss, they come down here.
They were
and the environment was great. You were in it.
Yep.
I mean, you know, people showed out. We were wondering, is this going to be a 40,000, attendance? Is it going to be 65? It looked pretty close on television to a sellout. But it's just, the thing is, it's not as simple as saying that Wake is 10 to 14 points better than Florida State. There's also, and it's done. They're just a better football team. We shot ourselves in the foot in so many situations that you feel like it was within your grasp as well. So I continue to be conflicted on how I walk away from that game because we don't have the top end talent. I agree. But we still had enough, and there were enough situations in that football game that if 50% of them go your way, you might win it. You might win it outright.
It would help, though, too, in big situations, knowing that you could come away with points if you stall. And you really, these are things that add up.
Correct.
In a vacuum, you say, all right, well, we don't have an elite corner. We don't have an elite linebacker after really Deloach is your best linebacker right now with the injury to Bethune. So, and he's playing, but, he's not the same guy that we saw. Hopefully he'll get back all the way. I mean, that just takes a little time, but you don't have much after that. With no Fabian Lovett, you don't have a difference maker on the defensive line, the interior. With no Verse at full strength, you don't have a difference maker.
The first play he came in.
Woo! He's different.
Chucks a left tackle
like
he's a ragdoll.
Isn't he different? He's a lot of fun, right? I will say I thought Briggs played a good football game. He did. He played well. He's getting stronger and stronger, so that's helpful. Like, he graded out well in my mind just from looking at it. But you don't have a difference maker at corner. You're pretty good at safety. You're not great, but you're pretty good. You have a really good frontline quarterback in Jordan Travis. I think you're so much better at wide receiver than you were a year ago. That's every week these days. Every week. I mean, Micah Pittman was fantastic in this game. And I'm not just talking about the catches or the returns. Watch him run block. Watch that kid. He's a son of a gun. And Wilson played well too. Could have had more out of his day, but he still played well. So I think you got a couple of dudes at wide receiver right now that I feel pretty excited about most days. So they've improved in a lot of areas. That offensive line, when you lost Caden Lyles to start the year, he never even got to play in a game. When you lost, obviously, Bless Harris, your starting right tackle, who was a tackle. You don't have tackles
so
on the
many
roster.
Guards on this
All
team.
we have is guards on the team. And so you lost him, and, you didn't really notice it right away. And credit to Jazz, who I've criticized a lot because I don't think he's very good. But he did hold his own against LSU. He's held his own in some situations. He was horrible run blocking in this game. I mean,
the first half especially.
Oh, I can't even watch him. I get so pissed off watching it. It's
the funny thing was I was talking about Darius and how it would be nice to have Robert back because you could play Darius at right tackle. And then the next, I don't know, 15 plays, maybe 13 of them, it's an issue. That's the killer drive, too. We haven't even talked about that. It's the plus 33-yard line.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's the plus 33-yard line with the return from Pittman. You have the false start. You overcome that. And then it's a big play. Yes, yeah, you're right. You're about at the 5-yard line.
Yes.
And that's the hold.
That's the hold.
I mean, that might be the game right there. There's a lot of little moments that you point to, but that's a killer. You have to punt when you start on the plus 33-yard line. That's embarrassing. You can't have that.
No, it's a huge – well, that's why I gave the success rate on drives inside the 40. They converted on 5 of those. Ours total were 3, and you had opportunities. It's just – and again, when you can't kick a field goal of any length, I mean, you really have a different math equation you're dealing with here, which is another thing, and I'll ask you about this because we can talk big picture. I'm not a sky is falling guy today. I'm just being blunt about what I see. I think Florida State at 4-1 is fine. 4-1's fine.
In a way, that makes you proud that you're 4-1 with all of these issues that are real.
No, I'm not mad. They'll be okay. It's not Mike Norvell's fault that Fitzgerald, who made 10 of 13 kicks a year ago, can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. That's not his fault. It's a predicament that he finds himself in, and he's got to figure out what to do when all you can do is recruit over him.
Might be his fault for rolling him out there from 50 and 55 at the end, though.
Okay, so that one is interesting. You know what? I thought, 55 seems like wouldn't have done it. I also would have thrown prior to that. There's a couple of situations.
I feel like, a Hail Mary or jump ball to Johnny Wilson, it has a better success rate.
Which is really damning.
Yeah.
But he might have been trying to free him up. Like, there's no expectation you're going to make a 55-yarder. I know you have the leg. I've seen you do it in practice. You might make a 55-yarder because nobody expects that you will, and you're free to kick away. Did you see that side shot? I don't know who it was. Somebody posted it. I came across yesterday in all my reading. And I want to give credit where credit's due, but somebody posted a shot of Fitzgerald's missed 29-yarder.
Yeah, about the follow through. I heard about that.
Holy moly. You remember the Scott Van Pelt Sports Center commercial where his head's tilted and they have to show him, and he's doing, they're like, that's not good.
It's Jimmy Rollins, I think, is the instructor.
He goes, now what are we doing here? And he's like, that's not good. No, that's not good. That's a great commercial, right? Fitzgerald, if they show him that kick.
Yeah, he was 18 of 29 for 200 yards.
But it's funny. Like, they're showing, when you see the kick, you go, oh, that's no kicking motion I've ever seen. But
it's Tiger coming back from his first back trouble.
Well, the yips.
With the yips and the chips.
And it's just rolling back by his feet.
It's all here.
Oh, that's something. Man. Anyway, we got a lot to expand on. What I think is still possible and what we're hoping we see them do moving forward and what's still in play here. And again, it will be interesting, really, really interesting to see what happens this weekend on the road. I am you and I are going to be doing a watch along together in the first half, I think, and I'm looking forward to that. This is a good test. NC State is only favored by 5. I took NC State, gave the 5 yesterday as quickly as I could. I couldn't believe how short that line is. I feel like NC State should be favored by 10 at home at night against a group that's beat up as Florida State is. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this group is a bunch of sons of bitches who's going to go up there angered by what just happened and reach down for those reserves. And maybe NC State, thinking they had a chance for the first time in a long time to position themselves to win the division, losing by 10 against Clemson and dealing with a physical matchup like that, maybe it all adds up to Florida State going on the road with a chance to win it in the fourth quarter.
The thing I'll say is I don't always make 2 practices during the week, during the season, but I've made at least 1 before each game. And then obviously we've got 95 people on staff. So we talk to the people that are there.
Yeah.
But I think so far from what I've seen, practice performance has begotten the performance on Saturdays or game day. And they were flat last week. And I was wondering, because it was the first time where I thought, man, they're a little flat. What's going on here? The whole time since the end of camp and the beginning of the season. And I wondered, usually they're sharp and they play well. So are they going to play a little bit down because they were flat in practice? And they were. So color me very excited to be at practice tomorrow to see how it goes, because I'll bet they're going to be sharp and intense. I bet that's going to be chippy for all the right reasons tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think this team does have a whole lot of moxie. So it'll be fun that they got a chance here to kind of prove me wrong, at least what I think they're capable of this week. Sometimes you lose games you're physically not capable of winning. Sometimes you find a way to overcome some of those things with a whole lot of what for. maybe they have that. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Over 50 years ago, when Paul Nicholson founded Paul's Termite and Pest Control, he had one goal in mind: provide the best service possible to his neighbors so they felt like family. Your problem was his problem, so today it's our problem. Paul's service area is our home. It's where our kids go to school, where we shop, and where we get involved with community organizations. So if some out-of-town company knocks on your door and begins pressuring you to sign an agreement for termite or pest control, you can bet on a few things. Number one, you'll never see that person again. Number two, your technician is likely to change often. And number three, your money will not stay in North Florida. These companies are sending your money to home offices in Atlanta, Orlando, Salt Lake City, or even Great Britain. Paul's Termite and Pest Control knows local means something to you. The health of your Tallahassee home, family, and pets is our number one priority. For the elimination of termites and pests and a greener lawn too, call your local company with local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
Every day, Sellers makes life a little better for homeowners, helping them find the best design ideas for their homes with the best quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Even mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions are at their fingertips in their remarkable showroom. Maybe it's time for you to get the Sellers Advantage for your home or office. Find them on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For style, quality, and design, get the Sellers Advantage. In Tallahassee, call 656-8453.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord at Finn Chiropractic. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Whether you have neck pain, back pain, headaches, joint stiffness, if you're tired all the time and just don't feel right and don't feel like yourself, these are things that we can help with in our office. Take advantage of our online special offer. Make an appointment online so we can get you in right away. Come visit our website at finnchiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com, because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff Cameron Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume. Listen to this. My friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to you and to those who make a difference in their communities. And it's, look, this is real value here. If you're looking to buy a home, they're going to waive all the lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's $1,600 in value right out the gate. If you decide to use their preferred title company for the closing, you'll save another $600. Now we're up over $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's a good deal. So here's the deal. Here's how you can save that money. If you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, a police officer, firefighter, nurse, or school teacher looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN, or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com. Got something else to tell you about that they're doing. I'll do that later on in the show. Woo! Yes, appreciate it. It was great to see. Man, Z-Chan is a kind-hearted soul and obviously whooping ass as a dentist. And bravo. And thank you. Thank you. And he added the old Go Braves there for you. That was a sweepage.
This was one of the worst sports weekends in a long time, my guy.
They're not postseason games yet, buddy. That's all right. That's all right. You can lose regular season games, maybe even the division. You can lose a regular season football game. You can lose a college football game. So a lot of things still could be worse if they were on the line with greater importance.
Wagers, fantasy football, baseball, NFL, college. You name it. You name it. Not a whole lot of winning going on in my house this weekend.
Running kick to the testicles.
Oh, many of them.
Hey,
might be used as a speed bag. Yeah.
That's all right. These things can happen. You know, Director Matthew must just be steady laughing as he watches very good Philadelphia Eagles football team find ways to win games and never throw the ball to Devontae Smith ever again. Apparently, they just decided that kid sucks to high heaven and never. I mean, what are we doing?
You know, the one thing.
I'm done. Shatter your knee.
Another regret outside of watching a lot of innings of Mets baseball this weekend. That's a regret. Another regret is that I didn't hammer a live wager when Jacksonville was up 14-0. I wanted to play Philly. I felt that it was the right play to play Philly in that moment.
You could have gotten incredible value. You should have jumped on it.
Oh, buddy.
You know what's interesting? I got to start doing something. I got to take my own advice. So I ended up having a pretty good weekend, not a great weekend. I won money in golf. I ended up with my personal picks just barely doing better than 500 because of a yesterday money line parlay when I was chasing. Woo!
Bad process.
You know,
good results.
You know who the double 2-team money line parlay was? You know who it was?
No.
Green Bay and the Raiders.
Oh, my.
Got them both.
Oh, no.
Woo!
Had it the whole way. I got hammered on a Georgia pick this weekend.
Ooh.
Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I teased it down to a number I liked.
And Georgia should have lost.
And I paired it to a number that I teased down for LSU, which hit. And, yeah.
Well, the problem was the LSU -9 didn't hit for Redemption Thursday. Sub 500 again on Redemption Thursday. Yeah. I'm going to start picking my own money line picks for Redemption Thursday.
I did a college football teaser. I got LSU to 2.5. I felt very good about that.
21-17.
That's a good play, though.
It is.
Good play.
It is.
Good job. And then Georgia, just go and lose the game. If you're going to lose me the money.
Did you see the end of that? Hey, guys, so listen, big picture here. We're talking about Florida State and where they need to be, not Tom and I's won or lost wagers. Any given weekend that can change. But let me say this. When you watch these games, and partly because, listen, I end up watching a lot of games for a lot of reasons. Some of them are work-related, and they're great. They're fun to do, all that stuff. I got a show tonight in Nebraska. They won a game for homecoming. They're going to be elated. It's going to be fun to do that show for the first time because they have a win under their belt. They beat lowly Indiana, I think 35-21. I'll go back and watch that today when I get home. So that said,
boy,
I know, tough ask, but I'll do it. Anyhow, that said, and those guys are pleasant guys. I like them all. Sean and those guys are great. Fine with me.
Earnest.
Yeah. Yes. And there are other shows, right? So that's all fun. And then some of the other games we watch because we love the sport. Some of the other games we watch because we're betting on the games. And so you just put it all together. You watch a lot of football. And one of my great takeaways this weekend was there's no excuse for Georgia to ever lose another football game. If you watched their team play the game, it's different than everybody else, and that includes Alabama. They have more of those, what the hell is that thing? Meaning human beings on their team than anybody else in the country. Like, you're just watching the game, you go, so they have a 6'7", 285-pound tight end that's hurdling linebackers? That it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen. They had a running back that won the game against Mizzou, simply put, because they could not tackle him in the fourth quarter. They had it schemed right. Run fits, perfect. Ran their ass over and over and over again. It's one of those Derrick Henry moments where you're like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. This son bitch is 250 pounds running 4.4. Thanks, coach. You want me to make that tackle? You make that tackle. I can't make that tackle. I play at Missouri. He's the starting running back at Georgia. It's the fourth quarter. I'm tired. I've got you to this point. They're just running veer, and I can't tackle him because he's 250 pounds of FU, and there's nothing. And he was running like it. He got up after every run screaming. I was like, oh, they're done. They're done. There's nothing you can do with this. All over the field at Georgia, they have players like that. It is insane. So why they're playing close games against Kent State and Mizzou, I have no idea. They might be bored. I'm not real sure. But watching Georgia the last 2 weeks, they've looked terrible, and yet every player on the field is better than anybody else in the country. It's crazy how well they've recruited.
Yeah, I've got a theory on that, and it's a working theory. But with the playoff and being in the SEC,
That you can afford to lose a game.
You've got a free strike.
Yeah.
And so there's...
But you don't want to waste it on Mizzou.
Of course you don't. But even if you did, you're still going to go to the playoff. And you might go to the playoff if you have 2 losses if you're Georgia, just the way the season is shaking out. So I think human nature creeps in for programs like that or Alabama. Certainly the performance against Texas, that didn't look inspired at all.
No.
So I think these teams from these power conferences know if it's not our day, no big deal. It's not quite the NFL where you can lose 5 and 6 times.
You can lose 7 or 8 if you
Right.
want.
You can lose 30% of your games. It's no big deal. 40% of your games as long as you get to the playoffs. It's not quite that, but it's not the same for Georgia as it is for, I don't know, a Pac-12 team. You just can't lose.
I watched a ton of football this weekend. I know it was funny. I ran into folks after our game that are just incensed. And, what I thought about with that is it's what I always bring up. You can logically, rationally live in the world of the theoretical and talk about how happy you are at 4-0 and that you would take it. If I had told you before the start of the season, we're going to be 4-0 before we lose a game, and then we're going to fall to Clemson, Wake Forest, who played in the ACC championship game last year, has a 50-year-old quarterback who's been running this damn system forever and a day, has a veteran offensive line, and is going to be ranked, and you'll lose that game. And it won't be embarrassing, but you'll lose that game. And everybody be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'll take 4-1 with the loss. That means we beat LSU. And yeah, awesome. It means yes. And you go through all of it. It means we beat Louisville on the road. Yes. How great. Although Louisville loses to Boston College. That's how you get fired. But going through all of that, everybody would have said yes to that. And then you lose the game. And we suck. And our coaches suck. Like, man, no, it isn't. You've seen radical shifts in the way this team plays on a down-to-down, quarter-to-quarter, game-to-game basis, the way they play together, improvement from players, which is a surely good sign in coaching. I mean, for Jordan Travis to take the leap that he has, coaches deserve credit for that. Do they not? I mean, going out in the transfer portal and upgrading your receiving core from dead-ass last in the ACC to top 5 in the ACC, you get credit for doing that, don't you? I mean, there are lots of things that you could say are signs that everything is moving in the right direction. But wins and losses happen for a reason. And when they do, they elicit emotion. And the emotion this weekend, I was happy to see. I wanted to give everybody a hug. I'm not trying to patronize. I'm not trying to talk down to anybody. But I ran into so many furious fans. And I'm like, man, what is it you don't see there? I'm not trying to be a jerk. But I had to catch myself. But, man, they're better at the line of scrimmage. And you can't do anything about that. Like, you're not going to win a game if you're better at the line of scrimmage.
I was at a watering hole to watch the 8 o'clock window. After the post-game show, I went just to, 3 TVs in front of me, have a giant beer. It was
for a little while, USC, Arizona State was pretty good.
For a little while. Yeah, I stayed for maybe the first quarter, and then I got out of there. I was a Corner Pocket. They sponsor us, so what the hell? I went to the CP. And one of our friends and listeners was there, and Jamie asked him, how you feeling? And he goes, I'm sad. And I thought that was the best. That was the best emotion I heard all day, because a lot of people were angry. And this guy was just, I'm sad. I thought we could win that game.
We could have won that game. We could have won that game.
But I think that's the right emotion. It's just you're disappointed. But that doesn't, like, all the shortcomings we see are arguments for the coaching staff doing a hell of a job to have us 4-1 in this situation.
And here's what's interesting. And I
no moral victories. I'm not trying to do that thing either. But it's just, it's remarkable that we're in a position still. You've got a lot of goals in front of you. If somehow you win on Saturday, it gets really squirrely for that 7:30 kick when Clemson comes to town.
Yeah, but I want to prepare people both ways because I think there's a real good chance you lose Saturday, and I think there's a real good chance you lose to Clemson as well. And I think you might very well be sitting at 4-3. And then how is it you're viewing this season up to that point? My guess is, once again, falling back on the losses happen for a reason, the illicit emotions premise, nobody will be elated with this coaching staff after 3 straight losses. If that happens, it's not a big if either. If that happens and they're 4-3, the fan base is going to be livid. And I think that's the nature of being a fan all in or all out or whatever it might be at any given weekend. But I would say look forward because I think you got a real good chance to beat a Miami program that's a mess down there. Obviously, I think you're going to beat Georgia Tech.
That was another interesting result.
Crazy result.
Well, we always find a way to lose to them. So I'll be nervous for that game no matter what happens these next 2 weeks.
So, but the point is, I think that you'll beat Georgia Tech. So now all of a sudden I got you at 6 wins. I think you'll beat Louisiana, who is nothing like they were just a year or two ago. I mean, that program has fallen on hard times with the quickness. Losing your coach and all the transfers along with it will do that to you. Now we're up to 7 wins. You know, listen, you just got to win one game that's kind of a 50-50. The roadie against Syracuse maybe is that game. I don't know. But you got to win like a 150-50.
Fabian Lovett would be very important for that particular game. Go figure that we'd have to say that, but it's true.
He's important for all these games. I mean, it's a miracle they're 4-1 without him. Basically, I mean, the one win you got with him, and he was great, especially in the second half against LSU in the run game. But you've had to play every game since without him, and it changes the dynamic of what you can do. So don't freak out is my point. But watch for signs of growth. And I'm not saying that there aren't moments that I'm not critical. I thought some of Mike's decisions in certain situations can be criticized. That's very different than saying this team is poorly coached. We do this. You can do this any week watching any team. You can watch Alabama against Texas. And I texted you in the second quarter and said, what is Nick Saban doing?
The fourth quarter.
Well, he did a lot of dumbass
The hubris
things.
of dropping back and throwing in the situation he did in the fourth quarter. I was like, please pick this off.
Yeah, well, so my point would be that guy's the greatest college football coach in the history of the game, arguably. And he coached terribly in that game. And you could say this definitively was a poor decision, period. There's nothing about this decision that makes sense. And you could go down the list of the things that he did wrong. Is Nick Saban a bad coach? No. Did he have a bad day at the office? Yes. Did Mike have his best day on Saturday? I don't think so. Was he terrible? No. There are things he couldn't overcome, and some of them are out of his control. One of which is you got a kicker right now who cannot kick. I don't know what you do about that other than to throw caution to the wind and never kick again, but he doubled down or tripled down or quadrupled down again today and said, I think he'll come out of it. I don't, Mike, but okay.
Well, he's got to say that, though. The thing is, it can be empowering, though, if you're in 3rd and 6 on the plus 30-yard line to know that you got 2 plays. I mean, in a way that can be empowering.
Run on 2nd down and a mile.
We're already at 3rd and 6. I skipped 2nd down.
Okay, well, we need to stop with that. And I know when I get into the debates with my boys on Seminole headlines, Corey's favorite thing to say is just always throw it up to Johnny Wilson, call the touchdown play. But he's not wrong when you're inside the 20 to take a shot.
Well, yeah, the throw.
Take a shot, man.
Triple coverage to Marquiston.
Yeah,
what is that?
Take a shot there.
Let's go to 14.
On the singles over there. Let's take a shot over there.
Even if it's doubles, that's better than triples up the seam to 85. What? Come on now.
Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Taylor County Sheriff's Office is stepping up to support Florida communities impacted by Hurricane Ian by collecting donations. The Sheriff's Office is asking for non-perishable food items, cleaning supplies, personal hygiene items, along with other goods. TCSO will be collecting supplies and monetary donations at the Walmart in Perry until Tuesday afternoon, with plans to ship out the goods Wednesday morning. An outbreak of listeria has been linked to Brie and Camembert cheeses that are sold nationwide. In statements, the CDC and FDA said all Old Europe cheese Brie and Camembert products with best by dates from September 28th through December 14th were under recall, sold under 24 different brand names. The CDC said there have been at least 6 cases of reported illnesses, including 5 hospitalizations. People are urged to throw the cheese away and clean refrigerators and other surfaces that may have come in contact. Call a healthcare provider right away if any symptoms develop after eating the cheese. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. They'll be moving to a brand new location tomorrow. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 81 this afternoon. Under clear skies, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight. Lows level off around 57. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 81. Mainly sunny skies and calm Wednesday with daytime highs approaching 83. 86 Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
Howdy there, folks. Jeff Cameron here, inviting you to join me from 1 to 3 each and every weekday afternoon. We're live and local thanks to great sponsors like FSUHomeLoans.com, 844-FSU-LOAN, 844-FSU-LOAN, FSUHomeLoans.com.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Basic Brooks. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true. But I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. Pastor Tabner was alone with a female church employee. She in a towel, and he in his boxers. The charismatic 41-year-old Hurley explained the two of them had been making chili and gotten food on the floors. With the hot dogs that they were making, we are hoping that the pastor used the right condiments.
I think there was at least one hot dog involved.
I don't know what you're talking about. We were just making chili dogs.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
To read something somebody noted that I agreed with, that it was another opportunity to kind of look back at the weekend that was, and a big part of that was what you guys did on Friday and helping contribute in our efforts to aid the Red Cross, who are aiding the folks most affected by Hurricane Ian. And Marcus brought that up. Woo! Have to say, the amount of money raised on Friday during the show was really touching. To have people immediately do it again at the CP show was awesome. I agree, Marcus. It really was. And that felt good. That felt really good. And it's nice. It's nice to see. Hijinks writes, hi. And contributes to the show. Thank you. My Falcons look like a team to beat the NFC. I picked the Falcons over the weekend, and they won in spite of the quarterback. Holy moly, Mariota was terrible in that game. Like, terrible as in worst performance of the season by any quarterback in the league. It was something to behold.
I don't know. That Arizona-Carolina game in the 4 o'clock window yesterday was special.
That's true. That was something. Yeah, it would appear that Baker will be out of the league soon. Looking more and more likely Baker's about to be out of the league.
Yeah.
Pappy, what's up, baby? That looked a lot like last year. Back to the fundamentals. 4-1 is no reason to put our heads down. Back to it next week. Let's go Noles. Go Noles. Some of it did. Some of it did. The physical, getting whipped physically in certain areas, certain segment groups, that looks familiar. But I don't think that anything else does, because the way that they play and the way that they fight and the way that they show resolve is very different than at times last year. So that is good. And again, I don't like losing. I hate it. But when you can look at a game and you don't see something that is completely out of line with what should have happened based on, like, if you are the more talented team and you're losing football games, we're having different discussions. That's when I'll come in here and say this team is poorly coached. When you have better players than the other team and they beat you. on the regular. It happens occasionally. Turnover luck's a thing, special teams, all these things. But when you don't have the better team, I'm talking about the better team, then, you can lose a football game, and it doesn't have to be because you were poorly coached. It could be just that they physically whipped your ass in some areas that you couldn't overcome. And I think that happened in this game. And I am tired of watching our tackles play because they're awful. Our offensive tackles are not good, and they're getting worse. I think this is beginning to deteriorate. They're getting targeted, and they're going to get targeted by people who have the personnel to do something about it. NC State does, and Clemson does. Wake did too. And I want to see, because Coach Atkins brought it up today, I got to put them in a better position. They came over to the sidelines a few times.
He didn't look thrilled with what he saw in their eyes on Saturday.
I think he was angry about some of that. Yeah.
And angry at himself, I think, a little bit.
Well, he's a man who takes great responsibility and said, I've got to do a better job so that we're not reacting to something, so that in the moment we know what's happening. But I think, yes, they they got undressed a little bit a couple times, and I don't know that they're physically equipped to do much about that. Now he's going to have to provide a lot of help in some ways, and that'll limit your offense.
A lot of humble pie served up on Saturday for a lot of position groups.
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at TOC is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Football at El Jalisco, football at El Jalisco, what a combination. It's a great big celebration. It's football at El Jalisco. I can dig it. Who's playing? Oh, man, everybody. The ACC, the SEC, all the C's, and even the pros. The Bucks, the Steelers, the Giants, the Cowboys. Wow, far out. You bet, man. When the game is on, it's on at El Jalisco with incredible specials on everything from frosty cervezas to salty margaritas.
Does Margarita know?
Dios mío, not again. The best place to watch the game is El Jalisco. College, pros, Monday night, Thursday night, you name it, El Jalisco is football headquarters. And with 5 Tallahassee area locations, there's probably an El Jalisco right around the corner right now.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks, we fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced. And while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you and thank me later.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
We will hear argument first this morning in case 21-454, Sackett versus EPA.
Mr. Schiff, you're up first this year.
That's the sound of Chief Justice John Roberts announcing the first case of the Supreme Court's fall term. The court beginning its new term after a break for summer. Today's session is the first time new Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the court's first black female justice, is participating in arguments. And it's the first time the public will be able to attend some of the court since they were closed in March 2020 because of the coronavirus pandemic. A new stack of high-profile cases awaits. Several cases the court has agreed to hear involve race or elections or both. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state will be helping gas stations with generators to get gas pumps up and running in Southwest Florida after Hurricane Ian.
There's been an issue with fuel in this area. I think it's more tied to the power than the actual fuel supply. But nevertheless, we stand ready to help with both of those because we understand how important it is, to get the fuel moving forward.
Governor DeSantis spoke to WZVN TV. Southwest Florida devastated by Ian. One estimate for the state's damage, $47 billion. Also at townhall.com, correspondent Jennifer King reports that for the first time, doctors are urging Americans 65 and older to get a special kind of extra strength flu shot.
There are 3 choices of revved up flu shots for seniors. Fluzone High Dose and Flu Block each contain higher doses of the main anti-flu ingredient. The other option is Fluad Adjuvanted, a regular dosage that contains a special ingredient that helps boost people's immune response.
That is correspondent Jennifer King. The Dow up 707 points now. More at townhall.com.
Charlie Dombeck here from Key City Capital. As a practicing CPA for nearly 30 years, I have found that 80% of your ability to grow your wealth is dependent upon 2 factors, taxes and investment performance. At Key City Capital, we improve investment performance by diversifying capital into off-market investment opportunities in passive rental real estate and alternatives like asset-backed lending. We recover dollars that clients unnecessarily pay in the form of income taxes, creating a lifetime annuity of savings. We are a sponsor of passive, affordable single and multifamily residential rental investments, which are located in Sunbelt landlord-friendly states. These investments are the top choices in a rising interest rate and inflationary environment. They represent a store of value, protecting your capital from market volatility. Learn how we at Key City Capital can help you ultimately grow your wealth rapidly. Connect with me at keycitycapital.com or give me a call at 817-912-1569.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
a couple weeks here. We thought it would be intriguing going in this 3-game stretch. I did think that if you were going to have a special season, a truly special season, you were going to need to win this past Saturday. So the truly special season seems to be off the board now. That's all right. Still have a good season. And I think if you're going to have a really good season, you got to win one of these next 2. I'm not real sure that's likely. So we may have gone from an opportunity at a special season to having a really good season to a good season to, okay, can we let's make sure we get to a bowl. And you don't want to keep dropping. Right now, you're just readjusting kind of the sight line there of what you think is possible.
Well, they didn't handle the pressure of having the target on their back a little bit this weekend as well as we had hoped. And the coaching staff has communicated that from last week's practices. That was a first guess where Mike was perturbed.
I wonder why, though, Tom. I can never figure that out. I don't know what that is, really. I mean, quantify that for me. They had practices in which they were nervous about the upcoming game. I don't know that I buy that. I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that I think that any guy went out to practice and didn't practice well because they were worried about the importance of this game.
No, I just think it's a foreign feeling that you're ranked. I mean, for all these guys that have been here, one way or the other, as transfers or 3 or 4 year players. Right. What is this? Maybe we are as good. You know, I just, the human nature, I think, creeps in a little bit. But now they don't have to worry about that one bit on this.
No, they got
trip.
humbled. They got humbled, and now they're underdogs. And so maybe they like the role a little bit more because they're comfortable being underdogs. You're right. It's possible.
And they played well away from home this year.
They have, and I think a lot of teams do, especially those that are building back up to something, because when you're on the road, you only have each other. It's a cliche, but it's true. It's all you have. It's the familiarity of the guy next to you and the routines of the team that you can fall back on, the understanding, the communication, the pattern that you have in place. And I agree with that. I don't know that will mean that they go out and win the game. I don't know that they'll feel freed more so than they did in this game, because they did fight back in this game and they did come back and they did have a chance at a pick down a score that if you get it, you may be driving down for the game-tying touchdown. I mean, they were in a position.
No, they were, and that's to their credit, and that, again, is why it's more frustrating if you look at it that way and say, so it is in you to be able to take it to a team like Wake Forest in a half and dominate the football game for a stretch of, what do you call it, 15 minutes?
About
17 minutes?
Yeah.
So it's in you to do that. But again, they weren't ready, and or they were rat trapping a little bit in the first half, which is what the coaching staff is telling you across the board in the post-game show or the post-game press conference, is that, man, we pressed a little bit. And that's the difference, is they weren't ready for the way it felt in the first half. But then the moment that they're getting kicked in the face, they're saying, oh, no, we're not going to go down that easily. So next time you're in a position where you've got a number next to the name of the football program because you're ranked, maybe you handle it in the first half in a different way.
So the game, this is interesting. I gave you a summary. If you missed the start of the show, I'd say let's be on time next time. Secondly, if you missed the start of the show, go back and I gave you a 10-minute soliloquy on what I thought happened in every facet.
There would have been a lot of slides if it was a PowerPoint presentation.
But what I will do here is touch on something I left out during that discussion, Tom, which was that I thought the game was in essence lost in the first 10 minutes. Because if you look at Florida State's drive chart, it's 6 plays, 83 yards, and a touchdown to start the game. So you handled the nerves just fine to start the game. You go right down the field and score on their ass. And you've got an opportunity because you get them off the field after they commit the stupid penalty, which we couldn't have known was going to be the last of their dumb penalties. And meanwhile, we were going to commit 11 for over 100 yards. That said,
the last of their called penalties.
Well,
yeah.
Right. But we actually made it really easy on the officials with some of the delay of games, false starts nonsense that put us further behind the chains time and again in crucial situations. All right. So you go 6 plays, 83 yards. Wake has to punt. After going 4 on 4th and 1, they get the penalty. It's 4th and 11. They're going to punt. You can put this game in a position where we're going to play giddy up the rest of the way. All right. You may score fine, but now we know what you're going to do, and you're not going to be as patient with the run game up the gut. And then also,
it wasn't just up; it was around too. There was some.
Well, they did a lot of running. They did a lot of running. Yeah. So then there's that. But also at 14-0 with the crowd in that game, and where you're like, if you go down and do that, it's a different game. But they didn't do that, Tom. They went 3 plays, 6 yards total, and a punt, in a possession that lasted 1:39 seconds.
Yeah, that's the second down where we missed the block on the right side. It's wide open. I don't want to be Jimbo, but you just wonder.
Out the gate.
Because at that point, I think it's midfield. At that point, you're right. It's you better score because we're gonna. That's what that building would feel like, and it changes everything. But
it wasn't quite.
You don't make the play.
It was at the 40, but I see what you're talking about.
There's room to run.
Well, I'm saying though, where he got tackled, yes, it doesn't work, and he punts. We punt from the 40, and there you go. So there it is. So three plays, 6 yards, $139 punted away. The next time you get the ball, you run 5 plays for less than 30 yards. You have it for 2 minutes. You punt it again. The next time you have the ball for 1 play and you fumble the damn ball. So that'll hurt your feelings as well. That was for 9 seconds, that possession.
Yeah, that one that you're talking about where you have 6 plays or whatever it is, that's the Micah Pittman is wide open. There's nobody within a mile of him. And the pressure forces Jordan to flush left and right, and then he can't locate the throw. You've got 40 yards of non-out-of-bounds territory to locate the throw, but you can't because of the pressure.
Your next possession is not good either. Not good.
That's the fumble in the next one, yeah.
And the following possession after that ain't good. It's 4 plays, 9 yards, $158. Thanks for nothing. Putting it away again. Your next position after that, you start to look a little bit better. You drive all the way down the field. Slappy over here misses a point-blank field goal again. And here we go. So that is, if we're counting at home, a touchdown on the opening drive. Doesn't take any time at all for you to do that. And then it's 3 plays, 5 plays, 1 play, 4 play, 13 plays, empty. 6 drives of thanks for nothing. You can't win against an offense and a veteran-laden team like Wake Forest with consecutive empty possessions of 6. That can't happen. Now, it would be nice if after a 13-play, 63-yard drive, your man could make a 29-yard field goal.
It would have changed all the circumstances of how you defend in the final couple of minutes of that game, too.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But he didn't make it, and he hasn't made a lot. And it doesn't appear that he's anywhere closer to making kicks. In fact, his kicks are looking uglier by the second. And I get that Mike has to tell everybody that I believe he'll come around. Well, you have to say that, but none of us do, and that's fine. You don't have to answer to us regarding your faith in the kicker. I think the real answer is, what else do you want me to say, guys? He's the only kicker I have on scholarship here. The walk-on kicker, I see him at practice all the time, meaning I'm playing the role of Mike. He doesn't look much better. No great shakes there, guys. Maybe I'll run him out there for 30-yard field goals because maybe you can hit those. But right now, I don't have a choice because I can't recruit over to this guy into the offseason. So what do you want me to do? I can't go get somebody else. I've got to run this guy out there, which I hate that for him, but now it just changes the math. You saw he wouldn't even let him kick an extra point, which I thought was a mistake. I'd have kicked the extra point. He didn't. We ended up making it up with the second 2-point conversion and getting it. It was a beautiful play call. But
I wouldn't waste it in that moment. It was funny.
It's perfect.
We discussed that on the in-game shows. That's a great play.
Yeah.
Might want to use that on 4th and goal from the 2 against Miami later in the year. Save that one, instead of being down multiple scores here. But I get it.
Well,
game's in front of you. You want to win the game that's in front of you.
Yeah, and you have to make up for the first time that you didn't get it. And, I would have tried to kick the extra point. If he misses that extra point, then I feel you. I guess at that point, we really can't trust him.
Do you think Mastromano's gotten a call yet?
I mean,
it's 11:30 last night.
Hey, man,
why is Coach
can you kick? Yeah.
Hey, can you come out here a little early to practice and try kicking?
So
with either foot, I mean, really, either one.
When you get the opportunity in the third quarter, it's a nice 10-play, 85-yard drive for a touchdown to answer a terrible defensive performance to start the half. Then you have an empty possession where you go minus 15 yards and kick. You punt again. But then you have a 7-play, 58-yard drive for a touchdown. And then, of course, you end the game by missing another field goal. And really, the penalty down there that you would have been inside the 5, you would have had a chance to really make this interesting. But, it happens. So I think there are a lot of things that are straightforward that have nothing to do with coaching in the loss. I think that you could say, hey, look, man, go back and look at, I think Ira wrote it in his 3-2-1 column on warchant.com. I think he brought up how many games is it? 17 of the last 19 that Wake Forest has scored over 31 points. I mean, they do this. They score. They're a good team. They just scored a gazillion against Clemson. I mean,
right. Put the shoe on the other foot and say, if we had scored 38 and won the football game, you'd be lauding how the defense got it together in the second half.
Gave up 10 points in the second half.
Right.
10. And really, again, given Wake Forest's offensive success, you could look throughout the conference, and you can make a legitimate argument that either Wake Forest's offense or North Carolina's offense are the best two offenses in the league. So it's not the end of the world that you gave up 31 points to Wake Forest. And I'm not enamored with the job that was done, but I also don't think it was dreadful. I do think that physically they've got real problems without a full-strength Verse, without a full-strength McClendon, and without a full-strength Fabian Lovett. I mean, that's a problem.
Right, but if in those 6 empty possessions you score 3 times.
I blame it more on the offense. I'm in agreement with you. I think that you could blame this offense more than the defense in this game. And I'm a little frustrated by that. Specifically, again, if you want to say both Mike and Jordan had their B games, I would agree with that assessment. I thought they had their B games on this day. And then I think the offensive line just got physically whipped. And that I don't know what you do a lot about right now. I mean, we were able to kind of scheme around it at times last year, but I hate when you're having to piece that together like that. It's awfully frustrating. But
there's also one situational thing I didn't like at the end of the game, which is if they've got a goal to go inside the 2-yard line and they're going to convert, you let them in the end zone. 2 scores is 2 scores, and you've got 4 minutes on the clock instead of under 2. And what are we doing? And we had timeouts at that point. I think we had 2 of them. So
that will be debated forevermore, right? I mean,
no, I think that one's an easy call though, because it's 4 minutes. And in college football, I mean, if you go down and you score, and again, we didn't when we had the ball under 2 minutes and ended up trying a 50 and a 55-yard field goal, and it didn't work out for us. But it's just, what they're trying to do. In a way, they're not trying to score right there. Wake Forest is. But you might be able to, allow human nature to take over when they're at the 7 or whatever yard line they were, and they're moving the chains. Let them in at that point, because now they're just going to bleed you dry, and now the game's already lost at that point, I think. But you're giving yourself a better chance for a miraculous rally. And we've got to be a little bit better in those moments too, because sometimes they're going to matter in a big way, and we're going to be talking about that first on a Monday. It's probably 15th on the list.
Your boy Paul Chryst is fired at Wisconsin, and we've had some firings lately. It started out at Nebraska, we know. Elsewhere in college football, they fired longtime head coach Paul Chryst, 67-26. But if you were listening last week when I was mentioning my Illinois pick, Tom, against Wisconsin, I thought that Wisconsin looked like a team that doesn't care about playing football. Seen them lately not really have much of a life. Apparently, insiders at Wisconsin thought so too, because they're like, okay, that's it. We're done here. We just got blown up by Illinois. We're done with you. Thanks for the 10 points again. And they got rid of them. So we'll see the direction they go. And then Colorado has fired Darrell. I don't know. Wisconsin fires a coach every other year.
Colorado does.
I mean, what did I say? Wisconsin, Colorado does. I don't. If you're Colorado, it's interesting because I never thought in the early 90s I would be looking at Colorado and Nebraska both looking in a coaching search in a season where they may win a grand total of 2 games between them, 3 games between the 2 teams. It would be, at that time, you would have said, those are 2 really good jobs. Really good jobs. Man, I'll take either the Nebraska or Colorado job. I mean, we're fresh off of national championship games. I mean, these are big games, big jobs. And now it's like, if you're Colorado, would you be overly excited about hiring Matt Campbell from Iowa State?
Right, yeah.
I mean,
or the special teams coordinator at Georgia, something like that.
I mean, if you're rumor is Dave Doran will be a big-time candidate for Wisconsin. That's the boring brand of football Wisconsin deserves.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the first NC State-Wisconsin tie.
He, by the way, was their defensive coordinator from 06 to 2010. So he has ties to Wisconsin.
So he was there for the Graham Gano game.
Yeah, he was
in Orlando.
Yeah, he was there. I don't know what you do. Where else I
believe that's Sports Talk Radio after any weekend of Nebraska or Wisconsin. or
just sort of
Colorado football of late.
Well,
I don't know what
I think at Kansas, and at Nebraska, you're talking about Kansas' Lance Leipold. That's what you're doing. He won again. They're undefeated.
They're ranked.
They're ranked, and they keep winning. And this one was a close one, but they win the game. And that guy it was a long time ago, early 2000s, ties to Nebraska. I mean, that's an easy slam dunk hire. But then again, Scott Frost wasn't easy slam dunk.
Old Lance may say, you know what? I got something going here.
You're still in Kansas, Lance.
Go to Nebraska.
Well, because there is a real tradition with gobs of money, and moreover, they're in the Big 10, not the Big 12. So I'll continue to take that money that the Big 10 is armed with compared to the Big 12, which is falling to pieces. And I have ties to Nebraska, cachet, all of that. I would do that. If I'm him, I'm leaving, unless they just do something stupid at Kansas and throw ungodly amounts of money at me, which is possible. They could.
Lance will give you 50% of the TV contract.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
If you're a business owner of any kind, you need advanced fire protection services. We are AFPS, and we provide high-quality life safety services throughout Northwest Florida, and we've been doing it since 1989, with offices now in Tallahassee. Fire sprinklers, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, hood suppression systems, and emergency exit lights. For all of your life safety equipment, we've got you covered 24/7. We are Advanced Fire Protection Services. For a free life safety system evaluation, visit WeSaveLives.com. That's WeSaveLives.com.
For many in the workforce, their goal is to climb the company ladder. Often the climb requires a move to another city, and that's especially true in our industry. I'm Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. If you rise the ranks of our competitors, there's a good chance moving up means moving away. Why? Because they're not local companies. They're from places like Orlando, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and even Europe. That's certainly not the case with our employees. We're a company that was founded in the Big Bend and remains locally owned. When Paul's Termite and Pest Control employees advance, they remain in the Tallahassee area. Don't trust the safety of your family and pets from disease-carrying pests or the structure of your biggest investment from termites to people who may be here today and gone tomorrow. Trust Paul's Termite and Pest Control, a company that has serviced thousands of our neighbors right here for over 50 years. Being local really does matter in our industry because local problems require local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control are the Big Bend's local experts for the elimination of termites or any other pest, and a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Imagine for a moment that you are completely weightless with zero gravity. All of your worries and stress melt away. Your mind stops racing and you fall into a profound state of pure relaxation. This is available to you right now at Tallulah Delta 8 Plus Floating in Railroad Square for just $50. These state-of-the-art floating pods are unlike anything else you've ever experienced, and while you're there, you can shop for some of the latest and greatest CBD and Delta 8 products on the market. Natural pain management, stress relief, and better sleep are all at your fingertips at Tallulah. Tell them Jeff Cameron sent you, and thank me later. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
as I have glossed over, I wasn't looking at the chat, so I didn't realize that I had some woos to get to. Hi, Jinx. Understand how it works now. Laugh out loud. Does this team have the mentality of someone has to pay for our loss? That someone is NC State. Keep climbing, boys. Go Noles. Well, we'll find out, right? I was talking about how intrigued I am to see how they go out and play. Now, sometimes you're not able to overcome some of the problems you have at certain segment groups with injuries and the like, no matter your attitude, no matter your focus, no matter your anger and intensity, some of those things cannot be overcome. But it certainly helps to have that mentality. Robert writes, happy Monday, fellas. Fair to say, even with the hiccup that we're ahead of schedule at 4-1, with Verse and Scott back, can we win 4 of 7 games? If yes, who? Woo! Yeah, so we were describing the schedule a moment ago and where Florida State sits and the reality. You get a reality check when you lose a football game. Everybody does. It's not unique to us. And that loss at home in a winnable game, but certainly no embarrassment to lose that game, means that you have to kind of recalibrate, just like you did when you won the first 4 games. When you won the first 4 games, including the LSU game and the road Louisville game, you thought, oh, well, now something more is possible, because if you told me we were going to block an extra point to win a game and that we were going to win with our backup quarterback on the road where half the team got injured and we were trailing at half at a place where we don't play all that well, I would have said probably not. But we did win those games. And so we walked in on Saturday and thought, okay, having won those games, can we get to 9 or 10 wins? That might have been, in some ways, an overreaction, but I don't think so. I think it's fair when you're 4-0 to start to wonder just how far what heights you can reach. I mean, after all, you're just kicking it around. It's what sports fans do. It's what we all do. We start to consider different possibilities in the wake of evidence that suggests something's different. Now, I also wondered, and we did this last week, when would you begin to really feel the effects of the injuries that you've suffered? I mean, winning the line of scrimmage on both sides is always the most important thing. And not having your very best defensive lineman in Fabian Lovett, having to overcome that loss every week, well, it's one thing to overcome it against Boston College in a game that you absolutely just overwhelmed their line of scrimmage defensively and get out to a big lead early on. It's another thing also to overcome it in a shootout, 35-31 on the road. But when you're facing a team that is as veteran-laden and well-coached as Wake and can take advantage of both Verse not being 100% healthy. Now, he had an effect on the game, there's no doubt, but he's still not 100% healthy. Really, a lot of guys are banged up front, period. And I think Wake took advantage of that. And then I've been saying for a while that I don't like our tackles. I understand the situation we find ourselves in, but with Scott out and having to start, Darius is not good. And then on the other side, Jazz, I don't think is very good, and have said that a bunch. He's a guard. I think he's much better suited to play guard. He gets exposed to tackle. This was not a good game for him at all. That's tough. That's how do you overcome that against good teams? Answers are sometimes that you can't. So when you go on the road against NC State that has a good defensive front and is veteran laden, we don't play well up there. It's at night. You know how that place is. I mean, we've had good teams go up there, really good teams go up there and look terrible.
State Fair, man.
Hate it. So would you predict Florida State to go win that game? Just win it. Not cover, win it. Probably not. Probably not. As I sit here today, probably not. And then what does that do if it happens? What does that do to the psyche of this team hosting Clemson the following week, who's also, by the way, very much equipped to come in here and win a football game, given what their front is against this offensive line? Now, having said that, I circle back and remind you that I thought if you're 4-3 with a game against Georgia Tech after that, and we've seen Miami not play well at all this year, and then you look at Syracuse, you're going to have to get healthy to go win that game. They're ranked right now and playing good football, but that's a winnable game. And, of course, you host Louisiana. So we're still talking about having everything in front of you, even if you have a fairly significant speed bump over the next, 2 games, first of those would have been Wake Forest, so 3 games in total.
You got to feel a little bit better about Clemson now that it's a night kick. That atmosphere, no matter what happens this weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a great.
No matter what happens at NC State, that's going to be nuts.
It will be nuts. And you just hope that early on you're in it long enough to begin to believe and then feel that energy, that build that happens. You know, the onus is always on the team that's favored to win, that the expectations are so much greater than yours, that, hey, look, Clemson wants to play for a college football championship. They want to play obviously in the playoff. They want to win the ACC. Florida State at that point is just fighting to get over the hump again, to find a way to vanquish a rival whom we haven't beaten in some time and who is really, I think, the subject of great ire at this point for Florida State fans, right? And you'll feel all of that in a game like that. But, hey, we're way out ahead of ourselves coming off this loss. Let's see who they get back healthy and how well they play on the road. Ira Shafel, Warchant.com, joins us every Monday. I'm excited about that. Want to talk to him. Hello, Ira. What's up, brother?
I'm good, Jeff. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I began the show today, Ira, just kind of straightforward my thoughts on some things with this game that I wasn't mad. It's just I think you're starting to see the effects of Florida State losing the line of scrimmage. And it's going to, there are individual plays that are made in the game that can frustrate you. Yeah, it stinks that you don't have a kicker right now, and it changes the math for a play caller. And there are a lot of little things, some dumb penalties and big moments. But the truth is, I think that the 2 tackles are getting exposed right now on offense, and I think this team doesn't look right without Fabian Lovett. They don't have a depth of talent in the interior, and I think Wake Forest took advantage of that. What are your thoughts on where Florida State sits going into this 2-game stretch against NC State and Clemson? Can they get a win in one of these 2 games as banged up as they are?
Yeah, I mean, I think the line of scrimmage is definitely an issue. Just the not just 1 or 2 injuries, but just the fact they've had so many, and then some of the guys who are even playing,
right?
Are not close to 100% either. And yeah, I think that was a huge problem in that game. On the flip side, I think you can look at it and say, yeah, even with that, if you play a clean game without double-digit penalties and without turning the ball over, and make a couple plays where you're in position to make them, that's a game you might probably should win. So I think from that standpoint, you say, man, if we play cleaner, we can play with these teams. And so, you go into this NC State game, and yeah, I mean, I think if you see the offense play sharp the way they did in the first 4 games and the way they did for the second half and maybe even a couple of moments in the first half, then yeah, I think Florida State can definitely win this game against NC State. The challenge is, you worry about the offensive line, especially against their defensive line. But you do have really good skill players, and you still have Jordan Travis, who I think is the guy we thought he was going into the last game. So I still think that the offense could do well. The Clemson game was a game early in the season or before the season. I thought that was the game they'd more likely win. But look, if DJ is going to play decent, very few teams are going to beat Clemson. And right now, DJ is playing at least decent at quarterback. And so that game, to me, I'd switch them right now. I think Florida State's got a better chance of winning the NC State game just because, Clemson is so talented and they're getting decent quarterback play.
I wonder, it'll be interesting. What I observed on Saturday was a couple of moments where Jordan Travis of yesteryear would have been able to make some plays with his legs. My assessment was that he was hesitant to do so. Do you agree with that? I thought a couple of times he could have run and didn't. I'm not mad at him. I don't think he played terribly. He didn't have his A game, but he wasn't awful. But they haven't unleashed the legs yet. I know Corey asked that question today, but I thought there were a couple of chances for him, and it seemed to me he was less mobile in this game than he was the week before.
Yeah, I also wonder what Wake was doing to kind of affect that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they were giving him a lot of attention, and I noticed there were at least a couple of times where once he started to move, the linebackers started coming right away. So I kind of get the impression maybe they were mirroring him a little bit, and also playing a little bit wider to kind of keep him in the pocket. I think that was one of their plans, was to try to keep him inside the pocket. And if he wants to run, okay, well, you're going to have to run with the big boys in the middle. And he just didn't seem to choose that. And there were a couple of times, like you said, I think if he could have kept a couple of those RPOs, he might have had a chance to make something happen. But I just don't know I don't know that that's going to be a huge part of what they do. But they might have to. If the offensive line can't play better than what they did this game, then Yeah, that may have to be a bigger part of the game plan going into games, not just based on what the defense is doing, but maybe actually some more designed runs. If he can do it, if he's physically capable of doing it.
I will say this, if there's something to continue to be excited about, because every week I see signs that there's another guy emerging, and this time it was Micah. They've got a legitimately good receiving core right now. And those guys play well most weeks, and it's good to see that sometimes it's a different guy, but they got a lot of guys playing consistently well at wide receiver. They didn't have that last year when they suffered adversity. Now they have that, and maybe they're able to overcome some of the weaknesses with that if they can keep Jordan upright, obviously.
Yeah, and maybe it's getting the ball out of Jordan's hands even quicker, because you're right. I mean, I think your running backs and your receivers are a really talented group overall. And the running backs didn't get a ton of at-bats in that game. But it was also a weird game. It was only 10 possessions. The time possession was so out of whack with Wake Forest in their long drives. So, sometimes, like a lot of people ask, why didn't Trey Benson get more carries? Well, I mean, again, they just didn't have a lot of at-bats. And Trayshawn Ward ran the ball well when he was in there. And then, you get behind 28-7, you have to start throwing it a lot. So, that to me, that game was a game where it kind of got out of control on them. In the first half, Wake kind of dictated terms, and Florida State never could kind of get out of it. I think the offense is going to look better against NC State, even though we think NC State might have better defense on paper. I think the offense is better than what it looked on Saturday.
Yeah, I said last hour that the sequence of punt, fumble, punt, missed field goal was the end of the game. I mean, when you do that in the first half after your opening drive, your next 6 possessions, punt, fumble, punt, missed field goal, 5 possessions.
A lot of it was self-inflicted.
Yeah. Yeah, they got and I just think you can't continue to lose on first down and put yourself in 3rd and long. You look at the 3rd down conversion rates for both teams, and you see Wake go 10 of 18 and 3 of 3 on 4th down. A lot of those were all manageable because they were in 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 4 or things like that. Whereas Florida State would lose first down or they commit a stupid penalty, and the next thing you know, you're behind the chains and it upsets everything that you want to do. There is no answer at kicker. I continue to get asked about this. Mike continues to get asked about this. There really isn't an answer, though. I want somebody other than me to say that they can't do anything about that until they bring in a new kicker, right?
You wouldn't think so, unless they can find somebody on campus. Because, again, they do have a walk-on who practices every week, and it's not like it's been where you'd say, okay, that guy has to be out there. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're still trying to figure out a way for Ryan to come out of this. But at some point, my concern is if he doesn't make a field goal this week at NC State, if they give him chances at NC State and it doesn't go well, I don't think you can trot him back out there in front of the crowd against Clemson. And the other problem you're going to have here is at some point, the other players are going to get resentful. I mean, I think this is a team that's very together, and I think they're playing for each other and they support each other. But at some point, if you keep putting him out there and he can't do the job you're putting him out there for, that's going to create issues in your locker room. So I just think that this is a big week. If he gets opportunities, he's got to convert. If he doesn't, then I think you have to, if it's a walk-on or if it's, just decide, you know what, we're going for 2 every time. Johnny Wilson's our new extra point guy. We're just going to throw fades every time we score a touchdown. Whatever it is, they're going to have to do something. I don't think you can throw him back out there against Clemson at home.
You know what sucks is just hearing you say that he has to go out and make a field goal on the road at night in Raleigh in a big game gives me like the butterflies. I'm feeling sick. I can't imagine how he feels. Like, can you imagine? Like, I kind of got to make this one or my career's over. I mean, good Lord, that doesn't bode well. Hey, brother, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Good to talk to you.
Thanks. See you, man.
Yep, that's Irish FL. Warchant.com. Yeah, like, honestly, how good are we feeling? Trotting him out there Saturday night, 7-7 from 38 yards. You think that's going through?
I think we need to cast lots about who watches the kick and the watch along, if that's the case. One of us is allowed to not watch.
Well, I'm going to watch it.
Oh, good. Then I won't.
I will volunteer to watch it.
Okay. I will look at you on the screen.
I'll watch the car crash. I can do it. I won't be happy about it. I won't revel in it, but
I just want to see a smile on your face. I want you to go, okay. That's what I want to see.
Well, Well, in truth, and I say this all the time on the show, that when you get older and you have perspective and say you get married and have kids the way I have, you end up rooting for everybody just about as long as they're not world-class a-holes. You root for everybody to do well, especially if they play for your team. I don't want this kid's career to end with, a series of missed kicks and never to be heard from again.
No, that's
I
true.
would prefer he make some kicks, but I'm also a realist and I'm also blunt. And so I'm going to tell you, exactly what I think when he misses the next one.
But 10, 15 years ago on this here program, it would be uncomfortable when we talked about the kicker.
Yes.
And now you've gotten better.
But I think it's self-evident. This is so bad that now there's not a debate. I used to debate certain aspects of the team where there was room for, perhaps, even if I thought you were wrong, there was room for a retort. Ain't nobody going to defend that kid right now. He sucks. There's nothing to say good about what he's trying to do as a kicker. It's awful. Doesn't mean I hate him personally, and it doesn't mean I'm not rooting for him. I am. But, what he is right now as a kicker is broken, completely broken. And when you see that, it's uncomfortable. It's one thing to miss some kicks. You yank one left or something in a big moment. We're like, it sucks. I wish you would have made that. Happens. To see the way his form is completely shot. He doesn't look like a college kicker. He doesn't look like a guy who's ever kicked a football.
Right. And that's in the 60 minutes of the game because he can do it, but then, it actually counts.
Yeah.
And that look.
That little
Steven Matz on the mound in City Field, brother.
That little half follow through thingy from 29 was like, what the hell is that?
Chris Bassett had that look in his eyes last night.
Added to your weekend of joy.
Goodness gracious. It was I should have bet what would you call it, an exacta, horse racing fans out there.
Yeah.
Against every one of my teams this weekend and parlayed it together. I'd at least be rich today.
Flash what I missed there, guys. I just went back to the chat. I realized some of you guys had posted some things. Did I miss one? No? I'm good?
I think we're caught up.
Okay. Go back and find what I'm talking about, Tom. I want you to see that kick. You're going to be like, oh, it really is like that commercial. It's like that's not even a kicking motion. I don't know what he's doing. It's
Yeah, he's me. When I was in middle school, we had a little golf league. It was a little one with these 5-6 middle schools that were private in Clearwater, and we play at the air park off of Hercules. There was this old, Clearwater air park, and the second hole runs parallel to the runway. And from the tee box, the tee box ends with a fence that goes into this little commuter airport. And every time I stepped on that tee, I knew it. I'm sure if somebody played with me more than one round, they knew it.
This is going OB.
It's going onto the runway.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried driver, 4-iron,
everything,
7-iron.
Yeah,
it's going on the runway, and that's that kid kicking right now.
My buddy Kobe, who I've told you about before, played golf in high school just like you did, and he played in Nebraska. And he said there was this one red shed that was OB off the first tee at this one course that they played, and he said. And he was good. He was a good golfer. He's like, I hit that shed all 4 years, and it was no chance I couldn't. It's on hole number 1, and I knew I was going OB on number 1, and everybody else in the group did too. And sure as hell, straight into the shed every time. That's the worst feeling in the world. You're just like, I got zero chance to hit this ball straight. You might as well just Happy Gilmore run up and hit it as hard.
Right.
Just do whatever you can.
Lefty.
Yeah. Anything you can. Oh boy. By the way, trying to keep it together during the heavy season can be very, very difficult. Heavy season calls on you. Stressful moments like a Fitzgerald kick, things like that may drive you to drink. But you can offset a rough weekend getting your butt back in the gym on Monday. Orange Theory Fitness, that's where you want to go. The first class is always free. Go find out what so many millions of others have figured out. Hold yourself accountable. First month is also free with the purchase of a heart rate monitor, so you're really saving here. And again, those coaches are the best in the business, and you'll see the science behind it all, and you'll go, oh, yeah, this works for me. Orange Theory Fitness, 2 locations in town, one in Midtown, one on the north side out there by Fresh Market. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A 2-alarm fire broke out in Gadsden County Friday, according to the fire chief. Gretna crews were called out to a warehouse fire in the 18,000 block of Highway 90. When crews arrived at the scene, the entire building collapsed. No injuries have been reported. 9 fire departments in total responded to the fire. The state fire marshal is now investigating. Hundreds of Red Cross volunteers from the Big Bend and across the country deployed across the state for Hurricane Ian relief efforts. Early morning preparation included stocking up on water, packing snacks, and assembling crew members to make the journey to Central Florida, areas impacted most by the storm. Several crews were sent to Jacksonville and Gainesville to set up in shelters, with many of those crew members flying in from out of state over the weekend. Red Cross Executive Director Sharon Caraway says they'll continue getting supplies and distributing them throughout the state as needed. She also encourages people to download the Red Cross Emergency app. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. They'll be moving to a new location tomorrow. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 81 this afternoon. Under clear skies, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight. Lows level off around 57. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 81. Mainly sunny skies and calm Wednesday with daytime highs approaching 83. 86 Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 78.
Let's be honest, we all have way too much stuff. Maybe your storage closet is full, your garage is full, or the guest bedroom is a mess. Call Southeast Portable Buildings, 580-6400, or visit them online at southeastportablebuildings.com.
Your next chance to win $1,000 is coming up at 3 p.m. Don't miss your chance to shake the 93.3 money tree and see what falls out. Planted by the law offices of Basic Brooks. Come back stronger with Basic Brooks.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
We need to have history. We need to have literature. It deserves an explanation. We don't need to be promoting lifestyles that come into play for your average elementary school.
Well, I had an experience with this. When my daughter was in school, her teacher gave her a book to read, but then she asked me what the C word is.
That was in the book.
That was in the book.
Okay, so talking about the C word. So you're talking about conservatives, right?
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Gentleman Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Remember we were talking about it last week, the whole, if something looks like a duck and walks like a duck, yeah, they fired that guy for the Dolphins. That didn't take long.
The old TO, huh?
I mean, that was nuts. Like, sometimes even, because we both said, well, I don't think the coach would purposely throw a guy out there who thinks he's going to help him win over the course of a season.
No, he's going to be medically cleared if you're going to play him on a short week. It's just, how did they arrive to the point where he's medically cleared?
What I don't understand, though, and going back to that, is that if me and you or any other football fan or football player or anything else could see that their quarterback was concussed last week, say you're the coach. You're McDaniel, and you go into the office, and the doctor walks in and gives you the shocking news that he's good to go. You're like,
look, man, I don't need you to be James Woods from Any Given Sunday.
Yeah.
Shoot me straight here.
I mean, is he okay? I mean, we got a lot of games, 17-game season, short week. I saw him just fall down while trying to walk. It doesn't seem like that's a back injury. What's the story?
We just won this game, so we've got a freebie if we need it.
Yeah, if we need it. I mean, it's okay. I just need to know. No, he's good, coach. God, I mean, no, that's the thing I thought as I watched it over and over. I'm like, what?
So are you like a doctor, or are you like Dr. Phil?
Did you just make this up? What are we doing here? Yeah. It was sort of strange. By the way, I wanted to just give you this because I love it when players do this. They don't do it. But when they do, I want to give them credit because the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm was born out of this. Naheem Hines was asked yesterday, the Colts running back, the backup. He was asked yesterday about the Colts' rough start to the season. And he said, look, I don't want to make excuses, but every year we have a new quarterback here, all right? So each year we have growing pains while we sit here and watch Tennessee, which has had Tannehill, my whole career? And each year we're restarting. We have to turn the page, start over with some new dude. So that sucks a little bit. Those teams we play, they've had a quarterback 4 or 5 years at a time. Not us. Every year, new guy. Quote, unquote.
Where can I get his jersey?
Bravo, sir.
Naheem's not having it.
Look, I don't want to make excuses, but every year we have a new quarterback. That's just cool. Like, that's true. You do. That's true. Yeah. Meanwhile, Tennessee's over here running out the same guy every year.
He's not great, but they know what he is.
They know what he's going to do. Yeah. That is an awesome quote.
There it is. The Rector's got it, too.
Yeah. Each year we're restarting. We have to turn the page. That's so good.
Jacoby Brissett, Brian Hoyer, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan.
Is that every one of them?
Since 2019, yeah. And Andrew Luck in 2018. But
I mean, think about that. Yeah, that's a toughie every freaking year. Brian Hoyer.
He played for like 5 minutes yesterday.
5 minutes, got concussed, and then that Zappy kid came in there or whatever his name was. Old Zippy got out there throwing it around the lot. Good for him.
Please let him be a good quarterback for 10
great?
years.
Yeah.
Just call him Old Zippy.
I saw him trot onto the field, I was like, who the hell is this dude?
I miss Angry Phillip Rivers as a character on the show. So Old Zippy. Come on, Zippy.
What is his name? Do you know? He went in and
might be Zappy.
I think it's Zappy. I don't know what his name is, but old Zappy got out there and after looking terrible to start the game, got it together. Hey, he looked better than Baker Mayfield. Well,
yeah, it's Bailey Zappy. Like if that name came up in NCAA in the recruiting thing, when you're building a dynasty,
I'm
I have
him.
to go get.
I gotta go get me
Zappy.
Zappy settled in. I watched that game very intently, given I had the Packers on the money line and we were going to overtime. While Zappy's out here slinging it about.
It probably hurt your feelings when Dobbs dropped that perfect dime.
Yeah. Oh, you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there.
He's a good player, though.
I know.
They've
discovered
onto one.
something there. Yeah. They always do because the quarterback's real good.
That guy's good, though. For being as diminutive as he is, he's got great body control skills.
Yes, he does. Need him to hold the ball through the catch. It's right there, my man. What are we doing? I had my hands up like that. And there it was. No, but alas. Could have used the products at Tallulah to get me to calm down. Could have settled in. Professional tease, kids, don't do that at the house. That's a beautiful lead-in. 3 different locations in town. Delta 8, Delta 9, Delta 10, THC, CBD, you name it. It's all there. Good times to be had, medicinal or otherwise. A lot of products. A lot of good juice, too, by the way.
Old Zippy would go there.
Hey, look, the Zippy's in there. Here we go, Bailey. Probables. Cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Royals, Guardians, nobody cares. Zach Greinke, Tristan McKenzie. Cardinals, Pirates, nobody cares. TBD, Mitch Keller. Pirates won yesterday against the Cardinals, and old Pools hit number 702.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
You guys are what, 58 wins, 59 wins now?
We are at 60 wins, sir.
What was the ticket preseason? 61 and a half?
I'm not going to get there.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to get there. I think it was 62, 63. Well, I guess in theory. Well, Cubs, Reds, Hayden Wisniewski and Hunter Green. Braves, Marlins. Got to root for Jesus Luzardo today against the Marlins, or for the Marlins. Bryce Elder will go for the Braves. Blue Jays, Orioles, Jose Barrios, Dean Creamer. Yankees, Rangers, Luis Severino, Martin Perez, Nats, Mets, Corey Abbott, Carlos Carrasco.
Whatever.
Yeah, you guys are not winning the division, right?
That's playing the Padres this weekend. That's what we're doing.
That's what you're doing. That's right. Rays, Red Sox, Tyler Glasnow and Rich Hill. D-backs, Brewers, Tommy Henry, Brandon Woodruff. Phillies, Astros, Aaron Nola, Lance McCullers Jr. What's your story? Philly's going to be all right?
magic number of 1.
Twins, White Sox, Bailey over Johnny Cueto. Angels, A's, Patrick Sandoval, Adrian Martinez. Tigers, Mariners, Ryan Garcia, George Kirby. Giants, Padres, John Brebbia, and Joe Musgrove. And finally, Rockies, Dodgers, Jose Urena, and Tony Gonsolin. That is a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
Maybe Tallulah can sponsor In the Coop with Robert Cooper and have
That's
some
tonight.
7:30 p.m. here on Warchant TV. But healing powers, maybe they got some special healing powers.
Well, they do. They do have a lot of things that heal over there. I also want to wish Jacob, if you're listening, I hope you are. I don't know if you are, but it's his 13th birthday. He's a big fan of the show, and he just turned 13 yesterday. I believe he just turned 13, and so I got a note passed on to me that Jacob would be listening, and I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. So happy birthday, happy 13th birthday to Jacob.
That's a big one.
Yeah, my youngest is 12. I can't wait till he's 13. I'm done with 12. I'm done with 12-year-olds.
Well, if he has a growth spurt at 13 like he did at 12, he's going to be
he'll be tall.
He'll be a 4 or a 5 in Leonard Hamilton's offense.
Bryce is graduated from the annoying stage of 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Clark is in the middle stages, the annoying middle stages of middle school, which is, God, I just forgot. Just you parents out there know what I'm talking about, especially with boys, just knuckleheads. But man, 7th grade is a tough grade.
I won't say which service it is, but their social media cracks me up, man. They're funny. Your boys.
Oh, yeah.
They're funny.
Yeah. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. We'll talk to you again tomorrow in the Coop tonight at 7:30. Watching it.